The broadcast began without music. Across the galaxy, millions of screens turned on at the same time. Space stations, trading hubs, royal halls, even small ships drifting between stars, all of them showed the same image. 10 million humans. They were standing inside transparent cages made of glowing energy. The cages floated in a massive alien arena, large enough to hold moons. The humans were thin, tired, and wounded. Some were soldiers. Some were scientists. Many were ordinary people. Children stood beside parents. Old humans leaned on young ones. They had been captured from human colonies after months of war. Above them hovered the symbol of the Zeroth Dominion, an empire feared across the galaxy. The Zeroth believed in one thing only, fear. And today, they planned to teach the galaxy a lesson. A tall alien commander stepped forward. His voice was deep and cold, translated perfectly into every known language. "Behold the price of resistance," he said. "Humans refused to kneel. So today, they will be erased. Live." Some aliens watched with excitement. Others watched with boredom. To them, humans were loud, emotional, and weak. This was just another punishment broadcast. Another species breaking under pressure. On distant worlds, alien children laughed. Merchants placed bets. Nobles sipped drinks while watching death like entertainment. Inside the cages, the humans did not scream. A human woman pulled a child close. A soldier straightened his back, even though his armor was broken. A man closed his eyes and whispered something no translator could hear. On Earth, the broadcast reached every screen. Cities stopped moving. Cars froze on highways. Trains halted mid-track. In homes, families stood in silence. No one spoke. No one cried out. The sound of 10 million human breaths filled the air. The leaders of Earth watched from a dark room deep below the planet's surface. Old men. Young women. Military officers. Scientists. No one shouted. No one asked for mercy. One officer whispered, "They are really doing it." Another asked, "Do we respond?" The oldest human in the room shook his head slowly. "Not yet," he said. "We watch." Back in the arena, the Zeroth commander raised one claw. "Let history remember this moment," he announced. "Let all species understand what happens when humans defy the galaxy." The cages began to glow brighter. Energy fields tightened. Pressure increased. Bones cracked. Some humans fell to their knees. Still, they did not beg. Across the galaxy, something strange happened. The humans watching did not scream. They did not turn away. They memorized faces. The first cage collapsed. Light exploded outward. When it faded, the humans inside were gone. No bodies. No blood. Just empty space. The Zeroth crowd roared in pleasure. Cage after cage followed. 10 million lives ended in silence. On Earth, a single tear fell from a general's face. He did not wipe it away. "Record everything," he said calmly. Satellites copied the broadcast. Hidden servers stored every second. Every scream. Every face. Every moment. The Zeroth commander smiled. "This is the end of humanity," he declared. "Your species has been broken." The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, screens went dark. Aliens returned to their lives. They believed the lesson was over. On Earth, the silence continued. No speeches were made. No fleets launched. No threats were sent. Deep beneath the planet, locked systems began to wake up. Ancient files opened. Red warnings appeared. Systems that had not been touched for centuries activated quietly. A young technician looked at his screen and felt cold. "Sir, He said softly, "The old protocols are responding." The old man nodded once. "They were always waiting," he replied. Far away, the Zeroth Dominion celebrated. They did not know that humanity had just finished watching. And when humans finish watching, they always begin to plan. The galaxy waited for Earth to scream. It never happened. Minutes passed after the broadcast ended. Then hours. Then days. Human space remained dark and quiet. No ships moved. No messages were sent. No threats appeared on galactic channels. To the Zeroth Dominion, this silence meant victory. Alien analysts studied human space from massive control towers. Their screens showed empty orbits and silent planets. "They are broken," one analyst said. "No species survives a loss like that." Another nodded. "Humans feel too much. Fear has crushed them." The report was sent across the Empire. Human resistance, neutralized. Celebrations followed. In Zeroth cities, banners rose into the sky. Music played. Soldiers drank and laughed. The Empire had made an example, and the galaxy had watched. On neutral worlds, other species discussed the event. Humans were foolish, some said. They should have surrendered earlier, said others. Only a few noticed something strange. Human trade routes were still active. Automated freighters moved exactly on schedule. Deep space sensors detected small signals moving between stars, too quiet, too controlled. But no one paid attention. On Earth, silence ruled everything. Cities were calm. Lights stayed on. Food systems worked. Children went to shelters and were told stories, not lies. No one was shown the full broadcast again. Deep underground, humans gathered where no alien eyes could see. Massive doors sealed shut. Old rooms filled with dust came alive. Screens flickered on, showing symbols marked forbidden and archived. A young officer stood beside a wall filled with names. 10 million names. He swallowed hard. "What is the plan?" A woman in a dark uniform answered calmly. "We follow protocol." The officer hesitated. "Which one?" She looked at him. "The one we hoped would never be used." Across Earth, similar rooms opened. On Mars. On Titan. On hidden colonies far from the core worlds. Humans who had never met began the same process at the same time. Not because they were ordered. Because they remembered. Long ago, humans had learned a rule: if the galaxy watches you die, make sure it remembers what follows. Old ships powered up, not warships, but signal vessels. They sent messages through strange paths, using frequencies most species had abandoned centuries ago. The messages were short. Stand by. Do not engage. Observe only. Human colonies received them and obeyed without question. Back in Zeroth space, the Empire prepared its next move. The High Council gathered. The Zeroth commander from the broadcast stood proudly before them. "The humans are silent," he said. "We should finish them." A council elder raised a claw. "No. Let them fade. Fear works best when it lingers." Another added, "Schedule another broadcast. Smaller. Just to remind them." Laughter echoed through the chamber. They chose a date. 3 days later. On Earth, the date was already known. Humans had seen the schedule the moment it was created. Their systems listened where alien systems assumed no one could hear. No alarms rang. No panic spread. Instead, humans prepared something else. In a deep chamber, a massive structure unlocked. It was not a weapon in the usual sense. No guns. No missiles. A scientist stared at the machine and whispered, "This will change everything." An older engineer replied, "It already has. We just never wanted to admit it." The machine powered up slowly, like something waking from a long sleep. Across the galaxy, no one noticed. The Zeroth Dominion believed silence meant surrender. They believed humans were afraid. They believed the show was over. They were wrong. The silence was not weakness. It was patience. And patience, humans knew, was far more dangerous than rage. Humans did not meet in one room. They met across hundreds of hidden places, linked by quiet channels and old systems that did not use normal space. There were no speeches. No cheers. No cries for revenge. Only names. 10 million names scrolled across screens, walls, and glass panels. Every base showed them. Every command room. Every colony. Humans believed something simple. If you forget the dead, you kill them twice. A young cadet stared at the list until his eyes burned. How do we fight an empire like this? He asked. A veteran officer answered without looking away. We don't fight like they do. The cadet frowned. Then how? The officer finally turned. His voice was calm, almost tired. We fight like humans. Earth had fought before. Long before the galaxy noticed them, humans had survived plagues, world wars, nuclear fire, and near extinction. They had lost cities. They had lost planets. Every time, they learned the same lesson. Anger burns fast. Memory burns forever. In a deep archive beneath Earth's oldest mountain ranges, historians unlocked sealed records. Not stories of victory, but of failure. Wars where humans rushed in and lost everything. Conflicts where they answered pain with rage and paid the price. A historian spoke softly to the room. This time, we do not rush. A general nodded. This time, we let them show who they are. Across human space, the same idea spread without being spoken. No attack orders were given. No fleets moved toward Zeroth borders. Instead, Earth began to speak to the galaxy in a different way. Human diplomats sent quiet messages to neutral worlds. Not threats. Not pleas. Just facts. They sent footage of the broadcast. Unedited. Uncut. No dramatic music. No speeches. Just cages. Faces. Silence. Some alien governments turned the messages off. Others watched and felt something unfamiliar. Shame. On a distant trade world, an alien merchant closed his shop early that day. He could not explain why. Meanwhile, the signal ships finished their work. Human colonies, hidden stations, and deep space outposts were now connected under one rule. Do not interfere. Do not warn. Just watch. This confused many. A colony leader asked, "Why are we waiting?" They killed our people. The reply from Earth was short. Because they want fear. We are giving them confidence. Back in Zeroth space, confidence was growing fast. Scouts reported no unusual movement. Sensors detected no weapons charging. No fleets gathering. The High Council relaxed. They are still, one council member said. Like prey. The Zeroth commander smiled. Then the next broadcast will finish them. What they did not know was that Earth had already chosen a response. Not a fleet. Not a bomb. A message. In a chamber deep under the Atlantic Ocean, a massive archive came fully online. Inside it was something humans had never used on another species. Because it was not meant to kill armies. It was meant to end stories. A scientist studied the data streams. If we do this, she said carefully, there is no undo. A man beside her answered, neither is genocide. Silence followed. Then a simple command was given. Prepare the record. Across Earth, satellites adjusted their positions. Observers moved into place. Systems synchronized down to the smallest fraction of time. Humans were not preparing for battle. They were preparing for a lesson. Far away, the Zeroth Dominion announced their next live execution. They believed humans would finally beg. They believed fear would break them. They did not understand one thing. Humans had stopped begging centuries ago. They had learned something far more dangerous. When humans remember their old wars, they do not repeat them. They end them. The second broadcast began exactly on time. Across the galaxy, screens came alive once more. In palaces and stations, in markets and warships, the same image appeared. New cages. More humans. Fewer than before, but enough. The Zeroth Dominion wanted a reminder, not a repeat. A warning wrapped in entertainment. The arena looked the same. The crowd sounded the same. Confident. Loud. The Zeroth commander stepped forward again. You had time, he said calmly. You chose silence. He raised a claw toward the cages. Then the galaxy went dark. Not just the screens. Everything. Lights died. Navigation systems froze. Artificial stars inside space stations vanished. Fleets drifting at light speed slammed into emergency stops. For one full second, the galaxy did not exist. Then the screens returned. But the arena was gone. In its place appeared a black field filled with faces. 10 million human faces. Still. Silent. Watching. Every screen, everywhere, showed the same thing. The Zeroth commander froze. This is not scheduled, he hissed. A human voice spoke. Not loud. Not angry. Clear. You wanted witnesses, the voice said. So we brought them back. The faces shifted. Names appeared beneath each one. Ages. Places. Colonies. The galaxy watched in confusion as the scale became clear. This was not a threat. This was a record. The human voice continued. These were not soldiers. They were not weapons. They were people. Behind the faces, something else appeared. A map. The Zeroth Dominion. Every world. Every station. Every core system. Red markers began to light up. One by one. Your empire taught us something, the voice said. You taught us that public death is power. The Zeroth High Council screamed orders, but nothing responded. Their systems were locked, held by something older than their codes. Then the first red marker went dark. No explosion. No fire. The planet simply vanished from the map. Its signal ended. Its mass signature collapsed. Gone. A council member whispered, "What weapon is this?" The human voice answered him, even though he had not spoken aloud. It is not a weapon, the voice said. It is a consequence. Another marker disappeared. Then another. Core worlds. Shipyards. Command hubs. Not random. Not fast. Precise. Controlled. The galaxy realized something terrible. Humans were not destroying the Zeroth Dominion. They were erasing it. World by world. History by history. The Zeroth commander fell to his knees. You cannot do this, he begged. We are a civilization. The human voice paused. So were they. The faces filled the screen again. 10 million silent witnesses. Then the process stopped. The remaining red markers stayed lit. The human voice returned, colder now. We could continue, it said. We will not. Silence. This ends now. No more executions. No more broadcasts. The screen changed one last time. A single line appeared, translated into every language. This is your warning. Then everything returned to normal. Lights came back. Ships moved again. Systems unlocked. The cages in the arena were empty. The humans inside them were gone. Safe. The Zeroth Dominion was broken. Across the galaxy, species sat in stunned silence. No cheers. No applause. Only fear. On Earth, no one celebrated. A general removed his gloves and sat down slowly. A scientist whispered, "It worked." The oldest human in the room closed his eyes. "They watched," he said. That was the point. Far across the stars, the galaxy understood something new. Humans did not respond with rage. They responded with control. And that was far more terrifying. The galaxy did not celebrate. That alone was strange. When empires fell before, there were parties, speeches, and songs. This time, there was only silence. Worlds watched their skies. Governments checked their systems again and again, hoping the blackout had been a dream. It was not. The Zeroth Dominion still existed, but barely. Its borders were broken. Its strongest worlds were gone. Its fleet stayed in port, afraid to move. For the first time in centuries, the Empire did not speak. Other species noticed something else. Human space was still quiet. No victory messages. No warnings. No demands. Earth sent only one transmission to the Galactic Council. It was not dramatic. It was not long. It contained 3 parts. First, a full, unedited copy of the original execution broadcast. Second, a list of 10 million names. Third, a single sentence. "This is why we responded." Nothing more followed. The Galactic Council met in emergency session. Species that had never agreed on anything now sat together in fear. One delegate asked the question everyone was thinking. "Are humans a threat?" No one answered. Another delegate tried again. "Will they do this to others?" Still silence. Finally, an old species, one that had watched civilizations rise and fall, spoke. "No," the elder said slowly. "They will not." The room turned toward him. "Humans do not seek control," he continued. "They seek boundaries." Across the galaxy, laws began to change. Public executions were banned. Live punishment broadcasts were erased. Entire entertainment industries vanished overnight. No one announced these changes publicly. They did not want to explain why. In Zeroth space, the commander who had led the broadcast sat alone in a dark chamber. His empire blamed him. His people feared him. He replayed the human message again and again. 10 million faces. Not screaming. Watching. He finally understood. Humans had not attacked out of anger. They had answered a question. On Earth, life continued. Children returned to schools. Cities stayed calm. Memorials were built, not loud ones, quiet spaces with names carved deep into stone. A young child asked her mother, "Did we win?" The mother thought for a long moment. "No," she said gently. "We remembered." Deep underground, the forbidden systems powered down again. Files were sealed. Warnings returned to red. A technician asked, "What if someone else tries this again?" An officer answered without looking up. "Then the galaxy will remember what happened here." Far away, traders whispered stories. Soldiers shared warnings. Parents taught their children a new rule, one that spread faster than any law. Never make humans watch their people die. Because humans did not forget. And they did not rush. They waited. At the edge of known space, a monument drifted in silence. It carried no flag, no weapon, no defense system. Only 10 million names. Ships passed it slowly. Even pirates powered down weapons near it. Even empires lowered shields. The galaxy had learned something important. Humans could be kind. Humans could be patient. Humans could forgive mistakes. But there was one thing they would never forgive. Turning suffering into a show. And so the galaxy moved on, quieter than before, careful in ways it had never been. Because once, they had watched 10 million humans die. And then they had watched humanity respond.